Welcome back to 50 Whiskey. I'm Josh.
I'm Keith.
And I'm Eric.
And this is our last video for 2022. And we wanted to spend this video just going over where we are currently with whiskey and just reflecting on all the whiskey we've had this past year. So we're going to start this episode just with some great math.
I love math.
And spreadsheets. I love spreadsheets.
I love some spreadsheets.
I have a spreadsheet that has every single rating we've given, every single price we would pay for a bottle, all listed out. I do some math to kind of figure out the best value, and we're going to talk about each of our top fives and our grand total average top fives overall, and let you know what we think of the whiskeys we've had this year. All right, so let's start with Eric. Actually, I'm just going to start with saying what was true for all of us. There was one whiskey that was on all of our most top-rated whiskey for this past year.
For each of us.
For all of us.
Holy
number one for
crap.
all of us. Number one for all of us was Benchmark Foolproof. That one had the best ratings of any of ours.
Every one of us gave it the best ratings
Yeah.
we gave any whiskey. Wow.
In 2022.
That's pretty impressive. I do remember loving it.
It was amazing.
Yes.
It is
Yeah.
amazing. Eric, I'm just going to give you a list of your top five.
Okay.
So Benchmark Foolproof, we already said. Noble Oak,
Okay.
Evan Williams Bald and Bond,
Okay.
The Whistler Double Oak, and
Okay.
Old Forester 86. Keith, your top five in ratings, this is only ratings, Benchmark Foolproof, The Whistler Double Oak, Old Forester 86, Benchmark Single Barrel, and Evan Williams Bald and Bond. Mine was Benchmark Foolproof, Old Forester 86, The Whistler Double Oak, Busker Triple Wood, and Jim Beam Repeal Batch. Now, you did not get to do Jim Beam Repeal Batch
No.
because you were not here for that video. Taking all of our ratings together, our highest rated was obviously Benchmark Foolproof, followed by Old Forester 86, then the Whistler Double Oak, then Evan Williams Bald and Bond, and technically speaking, the fifth was Jim Beam Repeal Batch, based on just our two ratings.
You probably would have liked it too.
Next, we're going to move on to our top five by what we'd be willing to pay for these.
This is going to be a fun number.
So, Eric, number one is Benchmark Foolproof for you.
See, that's actually really impressive because I thought this was going to be weighted overseas because I'm willing to pay more for overseas whiskey.
You said you'd be willing to pay $50 for that bottle. Followed by that was the Whistler Double Oak at $40, Isle of Skye 8-year at $35, Fighting Cock at $30, and Old Forester 86 at $30. Keith, your number one was the Whistler Double Oak at $45, followed by Benchmark Foolproof at $40, Benchmark Single Barrel at $32, Old Forester 86 at $30, and Isle of Skye at $30. Mine was the Whistler Double Oak at $35, followed by Busker Triple Wood, also $35, Balcones Pot Still Bourbon at $30, Old Forester 86 at $30, and James E. Pepper Rye at $30. Now, Benchmark Foolproof is not on that list because I did not guess, I didn't give a price I would pay because I knew about the bottle. So there's some bottles that I knew what was happening.
You knew.
And so I didn't give guesses.
You're also willing to pay a lot less than either of us. We both are like, yep, I'd pay $50 for that bottle. Knowing that 30 is the max. Your top was 35.
So overall, if you take all of our averages for everything, what was our most willing to pay?
Yeah, I'm curious.
Benchmark Foolproof at $45, the Whistler Double Oak at $40, Isle of Skye 8-year at $31, Old Forester 86 at $30, and Benchmark Single Barrel at $28.50. All right, so this last top five is not individual, it's just average. And what this is when I do all of my math, is I actually take all of our grades and put them on a bell curve. I then also take all of our price differences, so what it actually costs to buy a bottle, and then how much we said we'd be willing to pay, and taking the difference of that, either positive or negative, and then taking a bell curve of that difference. Based on that math, combining
There's some pretty negative numbers, there's some pretty positive numbers in there.
Doing that math, taking the bell curve, and then taking the bell curve of the results of those bell curves, we get our, of all the things we've taken this past year,
Best value.
best value. Best has a combination of good grades, good ratings, and a huge price difference from what it actually costs to what we said we were willing to pay. So before we get to that, actually, let me just start with differences. The whiskeys that had the highest difference.
Okay.
Number one, Benchmark Foolproof.
Yes, obviously.
Average was a $25 positive difference over what retail price is. Number two was the Whistler Double Oak.
I knew that one was going to be up there too.
$15 difference. Fighting Cock at a $10.66 difference.
Okay.
Old Forester 86 at a $10 difference.
Okay.
And then at $9.33 difference, Evan Williams Bald and Bond. All the whiskeys we had this past year, based on all this math, the top five best value goes Benchmark Foolproof,
Obviously. It has the best ratings and the best what we'd be willing to pay over.
Which gets a 97% grade if we do like out of 100. 97%.
What's 100 then?
Nothing got full 5s.
Oh, because it has to have full 5s.
And have
good value.
Price.
Yeah. Okay.
The Whistler Double Oak also at a slightly lower 97%. 97.2. Old Forester 86 at 96.5. Evan Williams Bald & Bond at 95.8. Number 5, I'm going to caveat this one again because Keith was not here for this one, was Jim Beam Repeal Batch at 94%. So I'm also going to list off the number 6 because we were all here for number 6, which was Fighting Cock at 93.7. So mostly bourbons, but we did have an Irish in there.
A very good Irish.
Very good Irish.
All right, so what I wanted to end on is, instead of just giving you math, is to tell you what whiskeys we're still gravitating towards. Not just what based on ratings, based on price, but what we just feel we want to drink. So I had these guys before I went through all the numbers and everything, and I did this myself, was choose 5 whiskeys from this shelf that I still want to drink, that I'm reaching towards whenever I'm just reaching for a whiskey. In the end, this is still subjective, and we have things in our brains that are just telling us that we want this and we want that.
I would like to see if Josh could guess one of ours.
Yes.
Just one.
One each?
Yeah, yes. Guess one each.
One each.
For both of you, Whistler Double Oak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go ahead and just start with 5. Eric, what 5 whiskeys of these ones are you reaching towards?
The 5 whiskeys that I gravitate towards when I come in are the Old Forester 86. That's easily my number one that I'm gravitating towards. Then the Whistler Double Oak. Then the Caribbean Smooth Doers, French Smooth Doers, and number 5 is the Rebel Straight Rye Whiskey.
Really?
But I have to be in a specific mood for that one.
2 of my top 5 made our top 5, and that would be the Whistler Double Oak and the Benchmark Foolproof.
See, I did not choose the Foolproof, and it was clearly the one that's missing from my list.
Number 3 on my list is the James E. Pepper 1776 Rye. And I also have a second rye on there, and that would be Sazerac Rye. I just love a nice Sazerac cocktail, and I've got to have that in order to make a true Sazerac cocktail. 5th, and not at all least, Shackleton Scotch.
For me, starting out, Old Forester 86. I imagine that once we get to 100, it's going to turn into that one.
Absolutely, probably, yeah.
Probably. Second is, I happen to find myself gravitating towards the Isle of Skye 8-year. It's just a really good peated, like slightly peated, slightly salty, maritime feeling Scotch, and it reminds me of Talisker, probably because I'm guessing that Talisker is inside that bottle, and I love Talisker. Next is the Whistler Double Oak. It's a amazingly delicious, fruity Irish whiskey. This one is a little bit odd, but I find myself going to it a lot lately, or wanting to go to it a lot lately at least, and that's the Evan Williams 1783 bottle. So it's just 90 proof. They got that upgrade recently from the 86 proof to the 90 proof, and it's just a good, solid $20 bottle. Last is the Dewar's French Cask Smooth. We did that review fairly recently, but I found it to be just so oily, and when I look at the shelf, I just want to reach in and grab it. There's not any other of the Dewar's line am I like wanting to go grab. I'm like, yeah, it's there. The French cask one, I, based on that experience, really just like to go and pull off. You might have noticed that only a few of the whiskeys that were in our top 5, or any of our top 5 lists there from actual stats, actually were in our top 5.
Whistler was all 3 of us. Old Forester was all 3 of us?
Did you put
no?
Forester?
You did not.
I did not put that on my list.
We both had Old Forester.
I had Benchmark Full.
You had Benchmark, which neither of us had, despite being our channel's number 1 whiskey.
I like Benchmark Foolproof, but I do have to be like in the right mindset and mood to want to gravitate towards it. That's one of those things. It's like I have to prep myself, and I have to be like decide I'm going to pour this now, or I'm going to usually pour it later so I can make sure my palate's prepped and all that. But that's our thoughts here at the end of 2022. Let us know what your favorite whiskey has been this past year, and we look forward to another year here on YouTube. Until next year, may the winds of fortune sail you.
May you sail a gentle sea.
May it always be the other guy who says, "This drink's on me." Happy New Year.